Hey guys, Chase again. I am joined by my brother Blake, and we're gonna do some movie reviews, maybe, right?
Yeah, talking about some movies and what we think about some movies we just saw. It really helps to work at a theater because they're free. I'm not gonna pay $10.69 for
It does.
Hillary's America.
It does. I am really, I feel really bad for anybody who spent a full ticket price on that movie.
I don't think anybody, honestly, I feel like anybody who came out of the movie really actually enjoyed it. Like all the, the 60 and up demographic actually enjoyed it. And when I talked to them, they were pretty,
They did. They did enjoy it.
They were inspired by it. Like this, like I told you, this one woman came up to us and was willing to, ask us if we were scared to vote because we were young.
Right.
So
I'm surprised too because that movie didn't even mention Trump.
Not once. Or I think at one point it was Hillary Clinton mentioning Trump. That was the first time they even mentioned him. It was just because it was an attack and an ad.
Right.
That's the only reason that they mentioned him.
So it's more of like just a slight against Hillary.
It wasn't even
rather than an endorsement of Trump. So it was such a propaganda movie like all the way through, and then the end scenes of patriotism and fireworks.
It's not even worth a review.
No, it's
to
not.
review that movie would probably be like
it's
a 1
not.
minute.
Yeah.
Just put some patriotic banners in the background and you're good.
Just really hope Dinesh D'Souza just never ever makes a movie again.
2020.
Which is bad.
Kanye's America.
Bad. Yeah, that's true. It might happen. He did say he wanted to run.
He's the outsider. I mean, he's in debt though, so we'll see.
I don't know who would vote for him. Who the hell?
All teens.
What is his demographic?
Below 18.
But they can't vote.
I know, that's the point.
0%.
It's polling.
Green Party.
It's polling 100% under 18.
All right.
The God Party.
I guess the main direction of this video was to go over Suicide Squad. Had a lot of probably people review it already, but kind of wanted to do our own review of it. I just think it's funny the whole Rotten Tomato thing happened. They actually had people who wanted to sign a petition to shut down Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So we all know Rotten Tomatoes is a aggregate critic score website that throws together reviews. Like, it's not like Rotten Tomatoes said, "Hey, we're going to give this movie a 30%."
Even if you look at the consensus, even like the consensus is just a compilation basically in what they feel like, oh, this is representative of the body. Even if you look at the consensus, it wasn't even that bad. Like, they just said it probably could have been better, but the consensus is like kind of even half positive. It wasn't even like a terrible thing. So for them to ask them to take it down is completely like irrelevant. It wouldn't make any sense. See, the consensus for Rotten Tomatoes was Suicide Squad boasts a talented cast and a little more humor than the previous DCEU efforts, but they aren't enough to save the disappointing end result from a muddled plot, thinly written characters. Like, this is all stuff that actually we believe happened.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it's still a half positive. Like, they're saying, oh, it's better than at least Batman versus Superman. It's better than years. So
they could have piled on.
They could have killed it. But
yeah, they actually had which I agree with. I do agree with it. I don't agree with Rotten Tomatoes all the time, for sure. I think there's some movies that are a lot better than they get their grades, and there are some movies on there that really never deserve to have even close to what their score is. But again, it's not Rotten Tomatoes coming out with a score and saying, "Hey, we're going to give that a 60." Cool. It's a review. It's an average of different critics, national critics, journalists, writers that watch movies all the time. Some of them maybe even be in the Academy. They vote for the Oscars. They vote for Screen Actors Guild Awards, or all that kind of Golden Globes, whatever. So it's not Rotten Tomatoes like a room full of guys just saying, "Hey, let's just give this a C," or give
these people, they've been doing it for a long time. You have to have a certain level before you can even get into the program. You can't just be like, "Oh, I want to be a Rotten Tomatoes critic."
Right.
Like here, for example, 9 Lives got a 9%, and the critic consensus is not meow, not ever. I mean, they could have done that for
that
for
is
Suicide
probably
Squad.
the shortest.
That's probably the shittiest thing.
That's probably the shortest consensus I've ever seen.
Not meow, not ever. And this had a $30 million
4
budget.
words. 4 words. That tells you all you need to know about that movie.
Kevin Spacey, Mr. Fussy.
Is that Christopher Walken?
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
Oh my God, are you serious? I didn't even think he was in there. I thought it was Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey and Christopher Walken.
Wow.
So
that is terrible.
It's a disappointment. The budget was $30 million, and they've grossed $7 million in the first weekend.
I have to say though, if your Rotten Tomato score is in the single digits, your movie sucks. It's shitty. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie.
Yeah, there's not
that's out there like. I mean, maybe we have one of those
Jaws 4.
Maybe what would you call it? A guilty pleasure, like movie that's entertaining. That,
you know, the SNL, Dana Carvey, the one with like, you know, the man of 100 impressions, that movie.
Oh, Master of Disguise.
Yeah, like that's a guilt. Sometimes like you want to watch it, it's so bad, but you know you like it. Like on the inside, some of it.
I don't even remember half that movie.
I mean, back when it literally has 0%.
Yeah.
It has a 0%.
I understand. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's the only movie on. It had a 1% at one point, but they made him change it, I guess.
1%.
But I think it is 0%. It might be 1.
I don't think you can get a 0%, can you?
If they're all negative. No, it is a 1%.
Wow.
It is a 1%. There's one positive review. So
that was kind of weird because that was like Dana Carvey was kind of out of the mainstream for a while. Like I don't think he had anything.
And then he came on the scene like randomly.
And then they gave him a movie. Like yeah. Because he had, well, I mean, maybe not out of the mainstream for a while because late 90s he kind of was, he was on SNL, was the main star on SNL, and then they had the Wayne's World movies and all that. But he was always kind of like second fiddle to Mike Myers and never really jumped out. But then they gave him his own movie, and then obviously it was...
Yeah, but I mean, the consensus here is like, you know, it could have been worse. Like, Rotten Tomatoes could have been worse to it, and people are already calling for some, you know, bullshit like that. Like, here they're talking about how it's witless, irritating, you know, ill-conceived. They didn't say anything that bad. They just said it was disappointing, you know,
right.
Which it was to me, in my opinion. But
sophomore gags, we all love those. So, all right, we're getting off topic a little bit, but just kind of going into how Rotten Tomatoes does their thing and how they have no control over what critics say. And that's the way we want it. We don't want to have a website skew the scores because you want to know legitimately how people feel about the movie. And I have to say I respect mainstream journalists, and you know, some of them, they don't get it right according to my opinion, but a lot of them, they watch movies for a living, they write about movies for a living, they know what they're doing. You should respect their opinion. You don't have to say that you believe like that's your opinion, but you can respect what they have to say about it, because they do that, like I said, they do this for a living and they know what they're doing. So I have to say Suicide Squad score to me is pretty accurate. I don't think I thought that movie was any better than the 30. Was it 29 or 26%? 26%. Wow, even worse now. Yeah. So
and also another counterpoint, you know, when people take polls, the more people that, you know, participate in the poll, the more accurate it is. This is probably the most participated critic score. There's 273 critics. Sometimes it's down to like 20, 50.
Yeah.
It's literally like this is the most critics can actually comment on a movie, right. And it's, you know, I mean, I guess the average scores are only like a 5, but
right.
It's like there's a guaranteed consensus that it's a mediocre film. Like it's not like what it could be. So
no, yeah, but the more opinions, the more you're going to get an actual, maybe a good survey of across the board. You've got guys that are national mainstream journalists to guys that are guys who blog about movies who are not, you know.
And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need like the youth,
right.
And like the other, you know, the young.
Yeah, what I was about to say was that you just hit on it, was the top critic area.
Yeah.
There's 54
reviews I've gotten
for Suicide Squad. That's also a very good amount of top critics voting on it. If it was like 5, maybe 10. I would say maybe it's skewed.
10 out of 54.
There's 54. Yeah, well, 10
out of 54 said fresh.
10 fresh. Wow,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
that's high.
Which is, I mean, that's around 20%. Or 9, and it's actually less than 20%, right? It's like a 15% rating for if they were just looking at top critics. That's 10 out of 54.
You're the math major, possibly.
Yeah, it's around like 16, 17. So people who are revered are, you know, hating it more, I guess.
I guess what I was gonna say was, you know, I don't know. Maybe we take these movies too seriously. But I still, even in that, like, I know it's a comic book movie, and you can't say, well, hey, that's not realistic. I mean, I catch myself like during certain moments in the film, I'm like, that's not realistic. But I got to remember, this is a comic book movie. It's not supposed to be realistic. But some of it's just like it was just thrown together. I don't know, too hastily, and maybe we still should have some realism involved with it, rather than just like, okay, everything's implausible. We're just gonna take it for what it is and, you know, go with it. But like I said, getting back to the point was, I do think that the critic score was pretty accurate. I thought the beginning started off okay. I think the introductions to each of the Suicide Squad members was actually quite interesting. I just think there's too many characters to go into to get a good backstory on all of them. Obviously, Harley Quinn, dominated because she's probably, along with Joker, the most popular character in the film.
Yeah.
They had to give Deadshot more, I think, more runtime because it's Will Smith. And if you read the comics, or I haven't read a lot of Deadshot because I don't think he's a big character in the comics anyway. But if you were to go back and read the comics, he's not really a major character, but because Will Smith played his role, that's why he had more.
Yeah, you really gotta
runtime.
Yeah, you really gotta tip your hat off to him though. He acted the hell out of a flat character. It was just, I mean, when I said that, when I saw with the characters and how many characters would be in the movie, I really was, I was kind of turned off automatically because whenever there's too many people, whenever you see like those Mother's Day films or like all those things like Valentine's Day where there's like 20 like big name people, you're like, okay, this isn't gonna be good actually. It looks good on the face of it. Everybody, I mean, that's basically what Suicide Squad was all marketing.
Right.
It was just like, it looks good on the face of it, and then on the inside you're like, oh shit, this really isn't that good because no one's getting enough screen time, or one person is, and all the people you really want to see are just like left in the shadows, or people are just like not until the very end they rush and they're like, oh shit, they're gonna save the day, let's put them in there real quickly. It's almost like I likened it to like David and Goliath. There's like Goliath is, they're working together this time. Goliath is Will Smith for screen time, and then like the little kids and like little Davids are trying to fucking like fight for it, and then at the end they come out of nowhere and they win. But then you're like, okay, why does it fucking matter? Because like I have no idea who they are. And then like at the, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. It just feels like the minor characters were rushed, and then like a couple scenes they felt like we're just there to try and develop them rather than actually make it organic throughout the entire film. But
right. Well, it's a good point though about the Valentine's Day and the Mother's Day and New Year's Day movies. A lot of that time, it's a lot of the time they throw all these big name actors and actresses on the movie poster or the preview, and you're like, okay, that attracts anybody to the movie because there's so many big name stars that people will like, oh wow, that's going to be a good movie because they got all those stars. But at the same time, though, you actually watch the film. Usually, I didn't even see the ratings for any of those big compilation
they've
films.
all been
they've all been bad,
like,
yeah, because they're just, that's all they are, is they're just box office horror movies. They're just like, people just suck people in, and just because of the actors and actresses themselves and their names. But yeah, the Suicide Squad was marketed the same way. Maybe not a lot of big stars, but you did have Jared Leto, did have Will Smith.
And then you have a bunch of rising stars, like Margot Robbie's a bit of a rising star, and then, you got Joel Kinnaman, who's been in a few films recently.
He played. Who did he play?
I think he played he played Flag.
Oh yeah. Actually, I do. It was funny. I recognized him from this TV show I watched, The Killing. It was on AMC. It's actually on Netflix now. It's actually pretty good. I didn't watch the last couple of seasons because I think AMC canceled it. Netflix grabbed it on for like one more season. I didn't watch that season. I didn't watch the third season after like the main conclusion of the plot line that they had. But he was in that. He was a prominent role in that TV show, and it was good. And I hadn't seen him since then. I was wondering maybe he'll pop up in some movies, and here he is.
Yeah.
But an okay role. I mean, his character kind of static, pretty one-dimensional because
just barking orders, just following orders too. Like nothing. He was kind of like just like the middleman that was just there for. I mean, in the beginning he was there as like a security, like basically like ready to kill him. He was that hard ass. And then I guess as you grow through the movie, he sort of grows towards a sense. Like, oh, like I can't be like black and white about everything. I guess that's what they're trying to put with him.
Right.
Like, you can go from a black and white officer to someone who realizes emotion and is attached.
Yeah.
And
his character evolves, and then finally,
I feel like that's what they're trying to do.
But had his moment in the bar was like he
that just threw me off.
Divulged his association with. I can't remember her name, the professor, but the Enchantress,
June,
whatever, June. Yeah.
That really kind of threw me off though. Like the bar, like I feel like it just. Okay, so you're...
Yeah, a lot of just like...
a lot of scenes that just try to slow down the pacing.
Yeah, it's slow. Yeah, it's slow that completely down.
Like you're in a chaotic movie, and now you're taking shots, and then your person in charge is being tortured, and you're like, okay, the person that can save basically all of you, and you're like, okay. I mean, I understand you're like regret. Oh, you don't want to go after her because I hate her, but she's the one that's gonna probably end this.
Right. Meanwhile, the center of the city, you have
everything
fucking world's ending.
Yeah, like destroy like everything. Like wow, this like.
It's like, but we're gonna take shots in the bar, and we're gonna take our time because the villain's gonna take their time. We're gonna wait for us to come and kill them. And it's like,
well, I mean, if you're like, we get it, we're all villains, but most like villains are like, oh, I don't want to destroy the entire world because I want to rule something,
Right.
But it was odd. I mean, and also the relationship and how it was formed, like how Waller basically faced or forced them to get together, and they didn't even know it, and then he finds that out. Like he's like, he put Joel Kinnaman's character Flag with her so that they would fall in love. And so then he finds out that she did that, and there's no remorse or anything. He doesn't realize, oh, I've been played. He's still like in love, like blindly, and I don't understand that. He's like, oh, you found out about how in the files how she put me with him, or she put me with her, and I was like, okay, so like you're just gonna continue to. I mean, I guess you're in love after that, but I'm like, come on, like you realize this is all a ploy.
Oh, so your entire life. You think he's known all along that it was a ploy to get?
No, I don't think he knew all along. I think once he found the binder in the helicopter, once it crashed, he read it too. Like once they crashed, and he realized too, and so that's when he starts to like break down. But I was like, still like, come on, okay, right. Like now you realize.
Just like it's like that. It's like even that. Like I'm just not. I didn't identify that right away. But like that's just like something I think most viewers wouldn't have caught on to. Like
yeah.
Or it's just thrown together.
I literally had to like research it afterwards to even get like a grip.
Right. They asked the director afterwards about a couple of big questions, and it was like, why does he have to say anything?
Yeah,
like that
like the director's cut
should be in the movie. That should be in the movie. They should tell you what's going on in the movie. Like maybe you leave some things to mystery. I mean, but that's more for like a sequel. Like you leave things open for like a sequel. Yeah. But like main plot questions should be answered in the film. I don't understand how they just failed to do that on so many different levels. So. I guess it's like a pile-on session for this movie.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, we're just like we're hammering it. I mean, on the good side, there are a few things. I mean, like the special effects were like all right. I mean, there was a few in the beginning of the movie, the cuts, like just the editing, basic editing. I felt myself. I was like, oh shit, this is like sickening. It was eye gouging. Like they're just like cut. Like you know.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I was like, oh fuck. Like
the Harley moment, like early.
Yeah, Harley, and then like all the introductions were like really. And I mean, I understand like the lettering, the vibe, the neon, cool, chaotic. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. That's I mean, some of that's cool. Some of it's like new.
It's a big marketing ploy though.
Yeah, like all the Snapchat neon, filters, the
neon colors.
Yeah.
I mean, that was well put together. The marketing campaign,
everything around
but,
it was. Yeah.
But that's why the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like
they disguised a pile of shit.
It's like when you go to a gift store on the way to a party and you get a yo-yo. And then you throw some glitter on the bag, and then a week later you find some glitter on you, and then the kid's like, maybe you gave me too much glitter. And you're like, basically this movie was all glitter shit and no substance. You got a fucking pharmacy yo-yo on the inside. I mean, it's fun for a little bit, and then you realize it's like broken.
It's not a Dunkin'. It's not a Dunkin'.
Yeah. A Dunkin' yo-yo.
I haven't seen a yo-yo in 10 years. So
we'll make a yo-yo review video.
So God. This movie's long, but it feels like there's not a lot to say.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of.
It's more the same.
Really. Substance to talk about. I mean, I just don't know why they had to go like sci-fi-ish. I don't know. Do you know if the Enchantress is in the comics?
I honestly haven't like read the comics like word for word. I know a bit of background, but with Enchantress, like she was like Cara Delevingne, whoever played her. She was good. Like I thought she was all right. Like I thought the switching was cool, like in the beginning, and how she like Enchantress, and then like it would flip the body, like all the special effects were cool. But at the end,
the voodoo thing, like
the voodoo that was kind of with a heart. I was like, okay, this is starting to get a little,
a little different, yeah.
Yeah, but then at the end, the special effects around her.
Yeah,
like, this is just taking me out. It looked like
bad.
It was animated. Like it looked completely not real at all.
Right, where the
and then her
force
body
field thing, or the sphere.
Like, this was looking pretty.
Yeah, and then she's like dancing around.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, like we get it. Like you're fucking evil,
right? And you're kind of next to this huge.
Yeah, and then I didn't understand why she needed that helo of garbage when she's already destroying the entire world,
That's what I'm saying. There's
just a bunch of things that didn't even make any sense.
But it's like I haven't read the comic. I know there's a comic for Suicide Squad. I'm curious if this has any inspiration from the comics. I don't think it does, but why go a sci-fi route when you could have gone I don't know. That's the problem, is I don't know what direction would they've gone in. Like, you're putting a Suicide Squad together for a reason. You're putting these guys together for a reason
to
fight.
You know what happened is evil. They put them together and they caused it. They caused the problem. The Enchantress wouldn't have been involved if they didn't put her in the fucking situation.
Yeah. So that's also.
I'm sure. I mean, that might be in the comics. Like, I wouldn't know, but I mean, it just seems like a complete oh, let's fight fire with fire, but let's start the fire.
Right. That made no sense to me. Like, okay, our movie is all about
like, what if Superman came down and ripped off the White House roof and grabbed the president? Okay, well, he's like, It
was almost like an excuse me accidental plot. Like, okay, we're gonna get all these guys together right off the bat. Like, okay, we're gonna make a Suicide Squad because we have terrorism and we're afraid of bad guys and whatever.
Yeah.
But then we have this plot hatched in the middle of everything. It's like, oh, excuse me, like Enchantress, turns evil or whatever. does her whole thing, but it's almost like it just happened. It's like this movie was just kind of, I don't know, I just hatched out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like I make a bunch of analogies, but it won't seem like it was like a boat that was sinking and everybody was drowning and you're just trying to stay afloat and you just can't. Like you literally like everything they do, every step they take just like leads me more in water, like deeper and deeper. I'm like I can't get out. There's no way I could understand what the fuck's going on. Like there's no reason for it. Like you're treading water. Like there's no.
If you have no comic background or you haven't read or you even watched any I don't even think watching a DC movie maybe Batman versus Superman had some elements that maybe would have carried over, because I think in the beginning, if you wouldn't have been paying attention, you didn't know Superman died.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't know that. That was just really
very, very
subtle, very subtle.
Just put it in there. Yeah, I mean,
I almost did it on purpose,
go watch it. Like they want you to go watch it before. They're like, oh, that's what they're saying. They're like, we don't want to spoil anything.
But also to not to hammer it home, to leave it open so that later on he'll come back.
Yeah.
So they left that an open-ended question too. So that was really subtle. And then Batman didn't look like Ben Affleck. I really thought that was not Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a bad. I didn't see Batman versus Superman. I saw previews, so maybe I don't know what he looks like with the mask on and all that. So, that was short-lived too. I mean, maybe that was one of the more interesting scenes. Was
Deadshot.
Maybe even not even that though. Deadshot and Batman, the confrontation, but his confrontation with his
the Joker and Harley,
his chase with
I mean, I guess there's so many just random stories that were plotted, just thrown in here, and let's all put them together and hopefully everybody accepts it. It's not, and nothing was very organic. It just seemed let's throw the shit in here. You're gonna we're gonna tell you this person's backstory. Katana. She
we're not going to.
I had no fucking idea what she was about. I get it, she's mysterious, she's a badass, but what else is she?
Her
backstory was literally told to us from someone else,
and it was 10 seconds long, and it was her pulling her sword out and he killed her husband, and her husband's soul lives in the sword.
Yeah,
and
and that's it.
That would have been a cool scene to have at the beginning of the movie or somewhere.
Yeah, like a tidbit, like a flashback or something.
I would have rather had that than them fighting.
They
whatever
did
the
enough
fuck
flashbacks. They could have included that.
They didn't. I mean, the
Well,
flashbacks.
I mean,
were...
with the Joker, Deadshot, they had enough of them. They could have put Katana in there. She was just there, randomly. She's okay, she's
just inserted into
the
thing.
She's with us. She's a good guy.
Right when they get on the plane, it's oh hey, here's this Asian girl with a sword.
And then she's should I kill them? What the fuck? But I mean, I guess she was just trying to assert her badass. But I don't know. I like to have a substance, with the badass.
And then really, when they were starting to do the flashbacks of Joker and Harley, I was like, really, it's going to be really interesting because it's going to be one of the things I do want to learn about. And then there wasn't anything to it. There's no substance to it. And that was it. Which I mean, that was kind of an interesting part in a way, but another way it was just it
was a cool action scene. It was cool, coolly put together, and all the how he captured her. But I mean, there was no dialogue. They were just yelling at each other.
Right.
I mean, also where Harley falls into the pit, where they're trying to put that origin. I would have never known why they were doing that. You know how because the Joker in the Killing Joke, if we hadn't seen that, we see the Joker's origin story. He falls into the pit, and that's why he's white. That's why he goes insane because he sees himself. Right. I would have never have known that she's just she's going to toxic pit for a reason. There's no okay, the Joker's just being an asshole. I thought, but then he just wants to be like him.
I guess in a way, those are kind of callbacks for people who do read the comics and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just if we wouldn't have watched the Killing, we watched the Killing Joke. Actually, it was in the theaters.
Yeah, it was rated R, the animated flick.
Right. Yeah, it was in the theaters a few weeks prior. Maybe that was on purpose because of this movie was coming out.
Been doing that.
Yeah. I don't think we would ever. I mean, and I haven't. I admit I have not read a lot of Batman comics. I do like Batman, probably one of my favorite comics if I was going to read them, but. We wouldn't have known that was happening, or that was part of his origin story, if we wouldn't have watched that movie. And then so people who are just laymen going in there and watching the movie, they're fucking lost. There's so much going on, and then there's not at the same time. It's so weird. We're throwing all these callbacks in, but we're not going to be very descriptive about the origins or
a movie
or
of
flashbacks.
Mixed stories and Easter eggs for people. It was there's mixed stories here to throw in.
Yeah, we're just going to throw a bunch of characters on screen and we're going to hope you like it because there's all this going on.
And I tried to like it. I thought it was going to be good, coming in, seeing the first, scenes, and then just I'm I just can't. I can't get that, that affection for this kind of movie. Right. It's just too much going on.
And I also did start off okay, and I was like, okay, maybe I might like this. But then I was like, there's gotta be a turning point where this starts to get bad, because it cannot have
and I think the turning point
a bad rating like that and not have some bad
the turning point
issues with
was
it.
with Enchantress when she just selected that guy, and then she just
random dude. Let's go to a Subway in Midway City, whatever, Chicago or New York, whatever city you want to compare it to. Let's just transform into this black guy in the middle of the subway. Okay, cool. Like, sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
that character, I was so disappointed with that enemy. Like, that was just the most basic enemy you see in a superhero movie or whatever, a supervillain movie.
Yeah, the villains sucked. They were like, what would you call?
Let me shoot your like wire
what would you
string,
call them?
like. I don't know, like gods, like Mayan gods or something, Aztec, like historical.
But they were almost like digitized, like
yeah, like they have a lot of technology for being like 6,000 years old.
Right. The origin of that was interesting. The Enchantress's origin, where
it was so short.
The professor falls into the cave or jumps into the cave and then
it's like the most interesting scenes are the most short. It's like Attack of the Clones. Yeah. The most interesting scene is when like Anakin Skywalker is killing the for his mother, and then they're so fucking short.
Right, you just want them to keep going. Please, let's keep going with that.
Let's do something.
Because the main plotline sucks. Like, so.
Oh yeah, they literally tried to make the villains faceless. You know how they try. Like you want to discuss, like you don't want to make your enemy like, oh, you want to feel for them or you want to feel some sort of emotion. They literally tried to make them faceless so we wouldn't care. Right. Just for bullet fodder or for a bullet cushion.
I couldn't care less.
I mean, Deadshot scene with like them killing all headshot, like, oh that's cool, but like what the fuck, like okay, so they were just planted there so we could get a cool just a scene.
So I don't know. Anything final word on that?
I know we're just like let's just like fucking like destroy everything, but no. Overall, I mean, yeah, marketed great. Posters were like fantastic looking.
Cool,
all the colors were great. But
having all the characters like piled up like that. And,
all their stats, all the cool things, like all these, like the editing, the after editing was good, but the editing, the actual editing was pretty like subpar, and just the overall character development, I mean, especially the end, was so rushed. Like the bar, when I know that the only reason the bar was there was for a few like jokes, and then for like just get the what's his name El Diablo's storyline in there real quick before he dies, before they kill him off, and then before they kill I mean, what's his name?
Oh god, that brings
Clint Eastwood. Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood. He was
that was him.
That was him. The other guy that died. He was just he's usually like kind of.
Did he die? He didn't die.
No, he put the bomb underneath. Remember, and then he died. Like when they blew it up, so both him and El Diablo passed. So I was like, damn, like okay.
I didn't even notice that.
He was supposed to be like, yeah. It was just like
that.
By that time, you were like, okay.
That brings up one of the corniest parts of the movie was when Diablo gets into that chicken thing.
Oh, she just like becomes like a fucking like massive
rooster, big like chicken,
rooster. Yeah, like,
and then fights
like,
the big.
Like, where'd that come from? Like, oh, it's like. I mean, you killed your family.
It's like, you don't know what I am. It's like, I mean, kind of knew that you were gonna fucking burn shit up, but like, I didn't know you were gonna be
I think it's funny. It's like Batman,
weird rooster or chicken or something.
Yeah, like when Batman's family like died. I mean, no, he killed his family, but when Batman's family died, he becomes like the the Arkham, like the knight for like the city in Gotham. And then when his family, I mean, he kills them, but when his family dies, he's like, I'm gonna go into hiding and never help anybody. Like maybe you would want to like show some passion for
right.
I don't know. And then he just comes out of nowhere and he's like. He's like, oh man, it's like, hey Holmes, like I'm gonna kill you. Like he was so like, that was like the.
It was a super bizarre part, like that just added more to just.
Also, my favorite scene in the movie, just because it's so fucking bad, is if you want Will Smith or Deadshot to fight for you, make sure you withhold letters from their daughter. That's what that I don't know. He wants to fight because you withheld letters from him.
Yeah. You would think that would turn him against him.
Yeah,
but
like you withheld letters. Oh, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna fight for you.
Yeah, he was like mad for a second, and I was like, oh, all right, we're gonna get this done. Like,
let's get this done so I can read these letters. Like I could have been reading because you didn't give me.
We could probably talk for another half hour about how many other bad parts there are in the movie. But, overall, like, if you like the movie, then great. I'm glad you did, because I just did not find anything satisfying about this movie at all. I didn't like Jared. We didn't even talk about Joker. I didn't even like
because there's so much
unmemorable.
Else.
It's like super unmemorable.
I forgot like I was talking about it because he's just such a small role. I mean,
small role and unmemorable.
Quirks and mannerisms that are like, oh, they're cool, they're new, but his overall character is kind of like, oh, you're in love with yourself. Like,
he's the Justin Bieber Joker because of the chains, the slick back hair, and I don't know. I maybe too much to live up to with Heath Ledger and his
Heath
Joker.
I mean, honestly, Cesar Romero and Jack Nicholson better, better. I mean, he was the worst. Joker. I think he was like average. I think he was okay. Just, there's no way he lives up to any of them.
Right,
he's last.
We might be thinking differently of
even
Jared
Mark Hamill.
Right, we might be thinking differently if Jared Leto had come
just if he was the only Joker
come before Heath Ledger.
If he was the only Joker, maybe. But I mean, he's gonna be compared to him, and he knew that too going into it. So
because honestly, if you go back to Dark Knight, Heath Ledger doesn't show up a whole lot in that movie either, but he's got a bigger part than Leto did. And I know Leto's not a big part of the story because he's just the boyfriend of Harley and the Suicide Squad, so there's a lot of limit to what they could do with him. But I just unmemorable, and maybe going. I'd be curious to see if they're going to go with him going forward. If like we have other DC extended universe movies, if they're going to go with him as the Joker going forward, or if they're going to try to go out and get somebody else.
I don't know. I feel like people, because the fans reacted so well to him. Like,
you think the fans reacted well?
I feel like a lot of them did.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're probably just going to go forward with him, and they're going to use him and Harley, and I honestly think those three. Him, Harley, and then Batman, but I think him and Harley are probably the most liked characters in this movie. I mean, besides Deadshot. Like, I think those, because, I mean, they're the most, talked about. That's why. I mean, or besides Joker. But Joker was, like, cool. Oh, they're like, oh, he's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, like...
Might even have an opposite effect on Deadshot. Like, for somebody who's such a minor character in the comics, might end up getting his own series now, or become a bigger character.
And then people are going to...
And Will Smith will reprise his role going forward.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I can't...
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And I'm really guessing because of the box office poll, they're gonna have a sequel and they're gonna have something going forward. Which, I mean, I don't know. I'll probably watch it and I hope it gets better. I'm hoping things get better. But DC's been putting out some.
Meanwhile, you have Marvel,
bags of
like back and forth, 80s, 90%.
Yeah, which I honestly have not seen any of the Marvel movies. I want to, but
the past ones that I've seen, like Ant-Man. I mean, that's the last one I've seen because I'm not a big fan of the Avengers or Captain America in general. But I mean, I just haven't gotten into it. I mean, I'm sure I'd like it if I watched it, but Ant-Man was really good, and that was with Paul Rudd. I mean, he's not like a crazy superhero star.
Right,
that's his first one.
Yeah,
and he did pretty well. So I mean, and Deadpool obviously is Marvel too.
That's probably the last movie before this movie that I saw that was superhero related.
That was crazy funny. And
it was really good.
That's a point. A terrible plot, and they still like hit it home. Like it was like not a terrible plot, but it was like such a
it was limited.
It was limited, and it was like its own little thing, and it's like okay. So, there's not much you can do with him going forward because he's such a R-rated character. Yeah. You can't put him in an Avengers movie because it's got to be PG-13. So.
Not a perfect movie, the Deadpool, but. It tells you
it did its thing.
A good character can save a bad plot or a bad plot line. So that's what I'm saying is that Suicide Squad, it could have been saved by a few characters that were better than they were. I mean, Will Smith maybe would have given him maybe the better role out of all of them, but because I don't know if he would say that though because he had more runtime than everybody else. Maybe he would. I don't know, but like I said, there might be a sequel going forward. Probably watch it just to see how bad it is.
Or we'll see. I mean, there might not be a sequel. They might go into separate
different direction.
Where they put Harley and Joker and Batman in a movie, and then they put Deadshot and other characters in another movie. I mean, this is Midway City, so it's supposedly halfway between Gotham and Metropolis. So maybe they'll like split it up, and I mean they'll do
something.
I mean, Superman's gonna come back because he's not dead.
No, I think that's why it was such a subtle reference to him and his death.
I think actually at the end of Batman, I read some reviews. And at the end of the Batman vs Superman, the dirt above his coffin hovers. So that's probably that was a hint towards him not being dead. Okay. So he's not dead.
Again, something else you wouldn't have known about if you didn't read outside the movie.
Sequel. This is not a sequel, and it's like literally almost like a different universe, sort of. I mean, it's not, but it's a different thing, and it should be explained by itself. And this is a long enough movie for you to be able to do that.
2 hours and 3 minutes, and I'm sure
if they just introduced the characters for the entire movie, I would be great. That introduction was good, but I mean,
I'm sure the DVD is gonna have more. Deleted scenes. Well, that's it, guys. I think we talked for long enough. I mean, I guess maybe go out and see it just to see it. I mean, it's entertaining in some instances, but too long and just too hastily put together and lacking on a lot of different levels, like we've mentioned. We've just scratched the surface.
Make sure to go to AMC theaters for your large popcorn, large drink combo. It's a good place to go. I mean. Free movies.
Well, this is Blake. He has his own channel. It's Macplays Gaming. If you want to go over there, subscribe to his channel, watch his videos. He is a Star Wars nerd, goes into Star Wars. watching some what you do. You play the video.
I play
the games.
Do playthroughs, I do, I'm gonna get back into horror games. I'm gonna be, mostly I like doing retro stuff, but I'm gonna be doing like all the new games once I acquire them. Obviously, I'm on a college budget, so.
Right. So right now you're doing.
Right now I'm doing a bunch of retro.
Yeah,
games.
retro throwback games.
The old throwback Star Wars games like Dark Forces, all those cool stuffs. But yeah, I mean, I'll continue forward. I'll probably be doing like other things like vlogs as well. We'll see. Where it takes me, but.
Cool. Thanks for joining me, and thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe and comment on the video.